Always make. All right, John, give us the game.
Okay, so in conjunction with an organization I participate with, we are holding a career skills workshop on Wednesday, and it's a 2.5 hour event. No, it's an hour and a half. 5:30. It's an hour and a half event, and one of the things that we're going to do in this event is have participants make up a job that they're interviewing, that they want to interview candidates for. And then everyone else their partner will interview for it. So basically it's setting yourself up as an employer and an interview. And so that everyone, half the room at any point in time, half the room will be interviewing, half the room will be being interviewed. And it's just to get experience being in front of an interviewer and answering questions. And so it's a mock-up. The jobs aren't really real, but people will bring their real resumes and answer questions truthfully that way. And so that's the setup. And then I wanted to spend, maybe the last 15 minutes doing a retrospective where as Philip said, harvesting the information that people got, and not so much about the liberating structure or the structure, but what they got in terms of skills. And so I'm looking to use liberating structures to do that retrospective.
Clarifying questions. Feel free to use your chat, unmute yourself, raise your hand.
How big is the group, John? Maybe you already said that, but I missed that one, I think.
No, I didn't. You didn't miss anything, Wing. It's all good. I think it's going to be probably between 20 and 30 people. I don't think we're going to get more than that.
And is this going to be in person or a remote event?
It'll be in person. We're gathering in a library. If it's nice, maybe we'll sit outside. So James is asking, what's the goal? And the goal is that everyone basically gets some on-the-ground experience interviewing. I've found that, the people I've worked with, is that every interview is, whatever it is a step towards your job. And that a job search is basically a sequence of no, until you get one yes. And all you need is one. So every no moves you towards your yes. So this is to put another no in the pile.
Everyone in attending is going to be actually a job seeker.
Probably. The community that comes to these events generally they don't have a job, or they're trying to learn. This is all around computer programming. So they're trying to learn something. They want a job, and usually it's an entry level thing. They haven't had that job before. And the hardest thing about being entry level is someone going, oh, well, we think that what you have is good and we'll start you, even though you have no experience. And no experience is a killer. There's this, if you need it, in order to get the job, you need experience. In order to get experience, you need a job. And so I'm just, I'm acting in that space.
How old are the people? I'm sorry.
They could be young. They could be right out of school or in school, or they could be people in their 40s, 50s looking to do a job change or something like that.
You mentioned this would be for a debriefing or for a harvesting. That's your main concern, right? Or your main space that you want to populate somehow.
I'm sorry, Nicoletta, would you repeat that? I didn't understand what you mean.
Yes, so I understand that the first part you already have figured out what you want to do with the questioning and everything, and now what you're trying for us to brainstorm about is the debriefing or the harvesting in the end, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you have an interest in having everyone giving out their opinions?
Oh, that's a good question. I would love that. We're not going to force everybody. All right, who hasn't answered yet? I mean, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But liberating structures is a great way to, as far as I'm concerned, is really the best way to make sure everyone has an opportunity more than in other ways.
What is the learning that you think they will get from your workshop? What are they learning?
I think that there will be some people that have good jobs, or will represent jobs well, and so I think it's pretty much on the ground experience of interviewing and preparing yourself. So the best outcome would be that someone interviews for a job and they're rejected. They're going, the interviewer might say, sorry, but you don't have what it takes. And I think for them, and that's good news, because there is no job. They're not really interviewing. I mean, they're not really applying. So that the getting that kind of negative feedback, if you will, I think could be really constructive. And I'm actually thinking of skewing it that way. Telling people, don't hire these people, tell them no, and tell them why. So that they get this kind of feedback without going, well, because I didn't like your shirt, or, you go to an interview and they go, oh, very nice to meet you, smile, smile, smile. We'll call you. And then of course you never hear from them. And I'd like to get some people to give better feedback.
All right, I think that we have enough. So let me just clarify what we're looking for. Our goal, your intention, John, is to get some suggestions for how to do some form of like 15-minute retrospective and harvesting after this role play. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Cool. We'll go ahead and importantly listen while you mute yourself and turn off your webcam. We're going to see what the wise crowd comes up with.
Awesome. I'm leaving, but I'll be right here.
So 15 minutes is not a lot of time for a retrospective. How could we do it, nerds?
I still think 1, 2 for all is the the go-to for such a quite a large group, and you don't have many time. But maybe you guys have different ideas.
Maybe a divide and conquer approach, where you have like smaller groups that share and then they share with the wider group.
So if I understand well, I mean, the game is going to be skewed so that people are not going to, or are going to have negative feedback, right? So that, I don't know, so they get hardened. We didn't have the time to ask him what he thought was going to be the value of this, except the reality of the workplace, I guess. So I mean, I'm playing with the idea. I don't know how to put it really, but it looks like if TRIZ would be interesting, like how can I fuck up a real interview, or like a riff on TRIZ, like, and then you can do it through 1, 2 for all. But the prompt would be, oh great, we all fucked up, so how can we really fuck up next time?
Yeah, I'm thinking of something also. I'm thinking of a role play. Maybe you could have some of the participants who have had some experience in job interviews act as the interviewers, and of course could have an interesting script which is a little bit tight, and so they do like a 3-minute or 5-minute, and then they switch partners, and then after that he could conclude with a reflection of where participants are reflecting on their experiences in the role play, but using the 1, 2 for all format.
Or conversation cafe. you know, and finish maybe with mad tea or something. I think that could be done pretty quickly and pretty interestingly. You know, people talk to each other. I don't know, for those who forgot what it was, the conversation cafe, you chat with somebody and then you have a discussion. I think that there are 4 or 5. So there is this 1, 2, 4 all mentality where you have dialogue and then you share the dialogue and then you open the circle and when you chat, and he can time box it differently, and then get the mat tea as the final output, or you know, chatterfall.
I have 2 ideas. One is building up on James's idea, basically trying to also with the 1, 2, 4 all going a bit into the question around what did I like to hear as an interviewer, and how did I like to feel as an interviewee, to be able to make the most out of a situation in the future. That would be one idea. And the other idea, and excuse me, I'm a complete Liberating Structures rookie, but I was thinking of an idea bingo, or whatever you want to call it, in which everyone just writes down their own first ideas, you know, like on one idea proposed it, that then as soon as, you know, there's one person presenting and every time there's someone who has something similar, they would go like bingo, and then you would cluster them somewhere.
Some form of affinity mapping, sounds like it. Thank you. What I notice comes up, I think 1, 2, 4 all is championship suggestion. Like, I think you got one sort of round. So your question, your invitation is really essential there. I like the vibe on what did I like to hear as the interviewee, or as the interviewer. Actually, I think that's a interesting direction to sort of take things. I think an interesting structure as well is either impromptu networking or mad tea party. So dividing the conversation as it is into many different one-on-one interactions is an interesting way of ensuring that everybody can participate. There's a question I have about to what extent it is necessary for people to cross-pollinate and sort of hear each other's action. Is the debrief for me as an individual, or is the debrief is it significant for me to hear what other people are finding from their reflections? So if that's not necessary, if it's not necessary that I hear what everybody else has sort of found for their insight, then a series of one-on-ones could work for something along those lines. I think the conversation cafe is a little tricky for 15 minutes, but if you did like groups of 3, I think that could work well enough. Anybody else?
Yeah, I liked what Nicoletta said about because interviewees and the people who help the interviews, they have like different outcomes, right? Different results. What I like about is what would be the takeaway of these participants at the end of the event? They don't want to feel bad about, oh, this is what we all did wrong. You also want to know what can we do right? So maybe something about 15% solutions provided by the ones who held the interviews. I heard something, but so like 15% solution, something like that the interviewers can provide. Like, okay, these are the things that you can fix really quickly and would really bring your interview to the next level for the one who's being interviewed.
But do we know, because now we have roles, right? We seems to have like 2 roles, the interviewer and the interviewee, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the interviewer is precisely a role. It's not something that they're professional at. Okay, so the thing is, yeah, I'm trying to see from the interviewer point of view what can be said that would help them.
Now, for example, they could say, okay, I rejected this candidate because he said this and this and this, but it's easy to avoid that by saying something like this, this, and this, something like that. Just giving some tips and advice on how to handle a certain question the next time.
And this brings up an interesting point as well around whether like the debriefing, is this going to happen after several role plays or after each role play? So after each role play, do we take some time to reflect on how that conversation went, or if I do a few different role plays and then we sort of like look back at it? So that's an interesting sort of design choice that either one could make, either taking more time to debrief each conversation, or letting them sort of stack up and then seeing like, hey, what's the common threads? While it might seem advantageous to debrief every single one, the advantage of just going from one to the next kind of might provide some insight about, oh, what are the common patterns for most of these interviews, and what did I notice? Like, there's an advantage, just like with impromptu networking, of going from back to back to back, is that the third time that you sort of tell the story, it has a little bit more substance. It comes out more fluidly than in other times. So those are the suggestions. I think we've given Jonathan some good ideas. I will invite him back into the call to tell us his takeaway, and then we'll do the next.
Hi. I know you didn't know this, but I was here the whole time. I heard the whole thing. Those were excellent suggestions. I really liked, it's clear we would do some form of 1, 2, 4 all, because that's how we play with liberating structures, right? Philip suggested TRIZ, which is brilliant. I love TRIZ. And maybe we do TRIZ as part of the setup. So that people could mock up what could go wrong right away without having to dramatize it. I think the idea of a mad tea really hit me good, a mad tea party, because that's a way for lots of people to share. And I think that the group insight isn't as important as the individual insight. So, that not everybody hears every response, not a big deal. But that there is this feedback loop. The last thing Jeremy said, should we do the retrospective after each role play or after all of them? And I think that's an interesting question, because if you do it after each one, well, each one will build, so that the next role play would be good. But then if you just do them, if you do it at the end, then you'll see better trends. So I'll play with that. I thought that was a really great suggestion. The 15% solutions was really good too. So there was that. Let's see, what else do I have here? I really like the idea of what did I like to hear as interviewee, as interviewer. So that might be, a question I put in Mad Tea Party. I'm still looking at this, but these were really excellent suggestions, and I got much more than I expected. And so thank you very much.
This is the vibe. Well, thanks, John.
What we do.
Does anybody else have a design brief for us to work on?
Yeah, I do actually. It's a very simple one, but
awesome. That's the game, right?
So I have an IT operations team of they're quite large, 15 people. So it's not really like Scrum style the right way, but at least they want to try Scrum. And I want to prepare a meeting with them to design or to create a definition of ready and a definition of done templates with them. But the challenge is the fact that the part of the team is only online available and the other part is offline available. So part of the team will be in the office and the other part will be online logged in. So I'm trying to look for a way which liberating structure could facilitate this situation where I can harvest all the input from all team members. So that's actually my question.
Interesting. Clarifying questions.
Can you repeat the goal of what you're trying to achieve? Is that, because I said, is that, how do you define what?
We want to create a definition of ready and a definition of done template with the team, with the IT operations team.
Okay. And do they have anything that resembles that for the moment?
No, there's no quality assurance whatsoever. That's why I want to create this with them.
Wing, I'm sorry, this is sort of a question a little off, but I'm very clear about definition of done. What's the definition of ready? What does that refer to? What are they ready for?
Definition ready is before they take on the task, they need to check whether the task is clear to them. And that's what a definition of ready is. Is this task ready for us to be, how do you say it? To start doing this task. For example, do we know, do we have all the stakeholders on board? Do we have all the information needed to do this task? Do we have, do we have a clear, how do you say it? A clear view on how long this task will take, something like that. So it's
That's
not
clear.
about
Thank you.
what's part of the definition of ready or definition done. It's not about that. It's about how can I, how do you say it? Engage the whole team in doing this, where team is online and offline available in one session. Or maybe I should do it in 2 sessions.
So it's the hybrid part that is the thing that you're thinking about.
Exactly, because they are very, very, how do you say it? Busy, the operations team. They have a massive workload, so I don't want to take too much of their time. And we have like a team meeting every week, and I want to use that team meeting of 1 hour to achieve this. If it's not possible, then it's not possible, but I would like to hear your opinion on this.
How many of them are there, you said?
There are 15 people.
And 7 are on and 7 are off.
Yeah, 5 are online and 7 are offline in the office.
And they have access to lots of stuff, like lots of digital tools.
Good question. We actually don't. We could use Miro, but they don't have much experience with that. If that's something that we'd, if that would be the solution, then it's something we can investigate.
Do you have a space in which everyone could go fully remote? Meaning, do you think that the people who are in real life could actually take on digital? Could participate digitally?
Yeah, then I can organize another meeting. Then it wouldn't be the team event, and it would be just another event that I do digitally. That would be an option. And then I would like to know which liberating structure could I use best for this situation.
You do have an interest though for the people who are there to be together, like physically.
That would be better, but if it's not possible, then it's not possible. I can do it digitally, but then I would like to hear your opinion on which liberating structure would be the best fit to do this.
May I ask a question, Wing? Do you have a good room for this, so that the in-person people could be there, and then you have projected screens so that you could see the Zoom people, or and that you could everyone's got workspace and all that. You have a space for this, yes?
Yeah, we do have the space. We have enough room to facilitate that, and good screen.
Like a conference room kind of thing, right?
Yeah, we do have that.
All right, good.
Well, I think they've given us enough to get started on, Wing. So importantly, listen while you mute yourself and turn off your webcam. We'll get to work. So how might we invite participation for a hybrid group to come up with a definition of ready and a definition of done? Who's got ideas?
Well, I thought that immediately I would use appreciative interviews because everybody has an idea for themselves about what their idea of done is and what their idea of ready is. Obviously, Wing would need to, lay out what those things really are so that everybody's on the same page. But then work on it. And then, the hybrid versus physical, I think everyone should have a laptop and maybe you project a mural board. Mural boards are great for that. So that if we were just in a room, we'd use an easel or, a whiteboard or something, but having, Miro would work really well.
That's a good point. That's why I also asked her if she had an interest in having the in real life people actually working in real life, because that would have been my first solution as well. But what I would definitely not do is try to make the hybrid go fully hybrid, in the sense of I would try to maybe separate the groups, have the online people working on one thing and the on-site people working on one thing, and then coming back together. Because otherwise, I mean, I've tried this hybrid thing and it's just, then you have the conversations going on in real life and then the digital ones don't understand what is happening. And yeah, I would just somehow find whatever structure allows it to be separate and then debrief individually one-on-one.
Yeah, I'd want to have an open microphone so that the people in the room could say whatever they want to say while they work on this, and the people in Zoom could hear it and basically also chime in. So I would lean more towards the physical than the remote, but separating them, I think, could be a problem. Just because then you're going to get two bunches of ideas. Here's the virtual people working and they come up with something, and here's the physical people and they're working and they come up with something. Well, then we've got to merge these two.
Yeah, I don't think it's the content that is the issue, because they're going to get pretty much ready on the definitions. They're not going to. The idea is to if we're my stand would be to try to put them together, because you want everybody to be able to be there.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do it in an efficient manner, it's more efficient, because you have one meeting, you don't have two meetings. And if you have a good structure, if you have a good infrastructure where people, like you were saying, talking about the mic or talking about this, then that requires from her to be a good facilitator, though. And liberating structures can be very helpful there, because they're very time boxed. And Miro can be used by everybody very easily, because Miro is going to be the artifact that is going to capture the knowledge and the value of this workshop.
The other liberating structure I thought of is what I need from you, where people are actually ask each other, well, what's your definition of done, or how how I know your work is done, maybe is the question, or something like that. So between appreciative interviews and what I need from you, I think are two good structures to use here.
Yeah, impromptu networking also. If you're just about the definitions, about what people think about these two words, then impromptu networking is very good, very fast. And then you meet people,
Well, I imagine this team of 15 people have been working together.
Yeah, me too. That's a question we forgot to ask, but that's what I feel. I think that they know each other.
And maybe, if we're doing impromptu networking, maybe it's paired with, one virtual person with one remote person.
Mm-hmm.
That's logistically, that's a little harder than saying, okay, you 6 virtual people, you pair off, and then, the 8 people or 9 people that are in the room, you pair off. But we could figure that, Wing could figure that out.
I think that's the coming back to this, how do we do the hybrid thing? What I've found is a reasonable solution to the mixture is literally just having laptops present as
Mhm.
representatives of people. And as you go into like 1, 2, 4 all, you just drag the laptop with you, right? So some people get paired up with remote people, and remote people, you know, it is for sure a little clunky, but it's actually pretty manageable, especially if you're in pairs. Then it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Like everybody sort of gets to go, takes a turn and talking to the person on the laptop connection. There's a couple things that come to mind. So first and foremost, Barry and Christian have a digital download, if I'm not mistaken, of their definition of ready and definition of done games. That might not be appropriate for this in actually defining them, but it's interesting to sort of have that as that game as a way to have the discussion about, all right, what goes first or what goes when in terms of ready and done. There's also a sort of variation. It's less of a structure, but more of just a pattern of inquiry. And it is, what are the parts of, or excuse me, so let's use the definition of ready as a specific example. So what is ready? And then what is ready not? What are the parts of ready? And what is ready a part of? That's not prescriptive in terms of what you get out of it, but those are 4 interesting questions that help you really grok the shit out of something.
But
So,
you know, if you're doing this, you can use a spiral journal.
yeah, totally.
You know, that will be cool.
Yeah. There's no difference in terms of participation. You can do that silently together.
And then, of course, you know, because the team wants one definition, you do a 1, 2, 4 all.
You could do something along. Yeah, I don't know if for the getting to one definition, I always like min specs, because starting with that long list. So let's just roll with it. Fill it, spiral journal into these four questions on ready, and then if you want, you could stack it up to the 2, 4 all on top of it and get a lot of interaction and additional stuff, and then. Instead of just jumping into, well, you could still do the all or not, and then doing min specs on the top of that, okay, of saying, okay, for our definition of ready, what's absolutely essential in order for work to be ready, right? And what tends to work well there is something like Moscow prioritization. What are the musts according to ready? What are the shoulds? It's better to have this than not have it. And what is the conceivable could space? The luxuries that we might be so, overjoyed to have. And then to think about, all right, so our definition of ready conforms to the must or conforms to the should. That's where you sort of put the boundary of what's essential for us is part of the game itself.
Yeah, just a question about, because I think that the combination of mini specs and spiral journal is really very, very good. I was just thinking about the time boxes. I forgot which, because she has an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 1, 2, 4 all is what, 12 minutes? Jeremy, so what are the time boxes of spiral journal and mini spec?
So spiral journal, min specs is the one that's the most probable to balloon in terms of time, unless you have some way to make that relatively mechanical. Spiral journal is usually 1 minute to draw the spiral and then 1 minute per question.
Yeah.
Both the definition of ready as well as the definition of done. We're talking 8 minutes, so 10 minutes in total for that one. Min specs is very dependent. Usually what you want to do is you want to go through your laundry list that you've brainstormed together. Could we still be successful? And if the answer is yes, we can skip this item and be successful, then it's not a min spec. It's not the most essential.
Yeah.
So that one is like I said, more problematic. It's more tendency to balloon in time because there's more sort of debate that you can have. So what you usually, one way that if so talking about a Miro board, so think about the bullseye, must, should, could, and think about those things. And one thing that we can play is every person can take one item and either place it somewhere on the map or move it somewhere on the map. And then you basically just work in rounds to decompose the entire pile of stuff so that everything is being sorted one thing at a time. And you can see some back and forth where the group sort of disagrees. You know, you'll have to choose. Do I want to use do I care so much about that one item? Do I disagree with where it is right now? Or I would rather sort something new into where I think it belongs. So that's a relatively effective way. The challenge is always about the explanation. I want people to explain their thinking very minimally, and I don't want people to debate and go, no, shut the fuck up and just show me on the thing where you think it goes on your turn, right? So to work those cycles, and that can take like 15 minutes. It really depends on the size of the pile and how quick you can encourage the group to work through that.
That's brilliant. Jeremy, you had talked about some resource on the web about definition of done, definition of ready.
Yeah. Barry and Christian of the Liberators. I think they have, I know at some point I got from Chris a package of JPEGs that are literally the digital copies of the physical card game that they have. So either you might be able to hit him up or check their web shop, or if you're really, really hard up and you think that that's absolutely the best way possible, then harass me and I might go dig and find it.
Great.
But I think we've given Wing plenty to think about. So why don't we invite her back and see what she thought of our consultation.
And we're back. Hello, guys. Wow, I really enjoyed your the way you guys came up with a lot of ideas. So I wrote down a lot, and it really was inspiring because I was like, oh yeah, we could do that as well, and also do a combination of a few structures. But I only have limited time, so I really need to think of how to do the setup. But I like the fact that I'll start with the first one. I just have a random list. I wrote it down randomly, but impromptu networking, these people, they know each other. They work together on a daily basis. So I will think about whether we should do that, because I'm afraid that they might influence each other whilst talking to each other. And I really want to know from themselves, what do they think? So appreciative interviews, I really like that, and what I need from you, that one. And also you spoke about the setup with the teams, either how to handle the hybrid part. And I really feel, yeah, I really like the idea of Nicoletta to separate the groups, because I think that would be most easy to handle, because it's just me to organize this. And if I have to manage the whole team in a hybrid way, I think that will be quite challenging. And I want to organize this within 2 weeks. That would mean that I need a lot of preparation time to organize this well. Thank you for the suggestion to use Miro. So I'll definitely look into that. I already use Miro, but I have to think how do you say it? How to organize it visually. But also, yeah, the open microphone during a hybrid session, I don't think it will work, not in our case, because I've seen how it becomes very chaotic, that people start not yelling or screaming, but I see that the people who are physically there, they will talk to each other, and people who are online, they will, how do you say it? They will, yeah, they don't participate anymore. So I don't think that wouldn't work in our case, I think, with this team at least. Also, Spiral Journal and MinSpecs, I really like that one. So I definitely will be including that one. I don't think the Spiral Journal, because I really think I need to prepare that very well. But MinSpecs, that's something that I could really definitely use. So that's my takeaway from you guys listening and thinking about the solution for my question. So thank you so much.
Epic. So thanks, Wayne, for giving us something to work on. Does anybody have another design brief? Well, that I think is great, because I've got to pick up the kids, and I'm happy to say whenever it's over, it's over. So thank you guys so much for showing up on this. Hold on, let me check
It's Juneteenth.
the Juneteenth edition of the Wise Crowds Design Call. If you don't know what Juneteenth is, Google it.
It's now a national holiday in the U.S. Although
really
I have to work today, but still, it celebrates it's when the last slaves learned about emancipation.
Yeah. There's an appropriateness of having to work on Juneteenth that is both ironic and a little tragic. My name's Jeremy. Thanks for joining the Wise Crowds Design Call. Whenever it's over, it's over. And we hope to see you next week.
It was great meeting everybody and nice working with you all. Congratulations. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you so much for your help and for hosting and for your participating. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.